All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Tuesday, December 20th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. Great to be back, at least on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. Finally back in Florida. I don't want to say back home. I was just home visiting family, celebrating the holidays, Hanukkah. Great to see everybody here inside the chat board, though. Leda, Michael, Ron included. Good afternoon indeed. Hopefully loud and clear for all of us otherwise we should be good to go. We have the ICCM trying to make another run back up. I mean, honestly, trading 121 million shares and counting on the day. This type of stock is more often than not going to exhaust out. It made a great bounce just a moment ago from 3, and we'll talk about this move in full from the morning. But this is one of a few trades that we caught from the day today and treated us pretty nicely. A bunch of our students, in fact, and I'll scroll back on the chat board actually to give a bunch of shout outs in a moment. But the ICCM just recently, you could even just see like for mid afternoon, that's a pretty decent bounce for a $3 stock moving up for about nearly 50 cents, breaking under and over that level, just like we talk about in class and our Traders Talk workshop, which we did earlier today. So this was a nice trade just before. But it was from the morning session, of course, that we ended up, doing really well in the stock. Actually, not myself. I didn't touch this thing at first. I went through my whole diatribe, as I kind of called it earlier today. But going over my morning, and I wasn't really having the best morning even before the open, and not to do with stock trading, computer issues of all things. But with that, the ICCM, this thing took off after the market opened up, right over the iceberg order that we ended up seeing in Traders Talk, that weekly workshop. We went over this trade, and we saw from pre-market going back on it, we ended up having a big iceberg order at 330. So it broke above it, ended up running. Chris ended up getting in from that 330 level. He got 37 cents on it really early. Robert was in and out for about 35 or 40 cents. John in and out from pre-market. A litany of our students ended up doing well on this trade. Alex, we had Sam, we had Chuck, Chris again, we had Allison, we had Roseanne, we had Joyce, we had Lewis. We had a bunch of us do really well on this trade. Just reading the chat board inside our live trading room right now. But with that in mind right now here, we'll see if this could look to squeeze back up. Perhaps this could build over 330. If it does not, and if it's looking to set up for a further drop, then I'd scratch it off our list. I don't mind slipping this just on the back end of our watch list to start, though. All right, it's been a long day of talking coming back from New York here. So quick water break. But with that, let's go right from top to bottom here. The markets really haven't gone much of anywhere, at least since the mid-morning. Ended up bouncing, making a nice trend of higher lows. Recently, more than anything, ended up breaking above the VWAP, holding it as support, squeezing back up towards the big level. But since been pretty flat, making those lower highs now. So, we'll see where the market takes us at least. But otherwise, let's see what we have across the percent gainers and losers lists here to add on top to the ICCM. This VRNA, I just wanted to look at it really briefly, but it looks like it's trying to squeak up right now. Perfect timing, maybe. This thing just blasted off from 1820 up towards 1860 or so. It was so flat across the whole day. I wasn't expecting anything just turning over to this stock. But you know what, for right now, I'll put this on the side. I'll come back to it at least. I'm not fully committed to it right now, but VRNA, little pop there. Good timing. This one did not treat us too nicely just a moment ago. So, the ATNF was a trade that we had from the morning, from the market open, ended up taking off. It got halted, then ran up higher later on. And going into the mid-afternoon here, you could say, like after 1:30, I saw it squeeze back up, looking for the break over 5. Started off really nicely, but as you could see, ended up coming back down. It failed to hold support off the 5 level from that point, obviously, and then sunk. So yeah, this one did not do us too nicely just before. VAPO ended up making a nice squeeze even from from last week's run that it had. Right now, though, not really trading a whole lot of volume per minute. IEG was from the morning, gold stock, so obviously pretty flat right now. Let me just expand this price column here. I'm getting a little thrown off the price there. There we go. All right, what else we got? We got the EH trade. EH did really nicely for us, like, a couple weeks back, pulled back from that point. It was easy to borrow one of those days, provided as a great short, actually, but otherwise, just right now on the 1 minute chart, just squeezing up right now. Not really trading a whole lot of volume right now, really per minute. Natural gas ETF cold. It's been too shaky across this whole afternoon. I guess right now, kind of making a similar pop as the VRNA. I'll put this on our side list. It's definitely making a strong pop back over 1980 and 2001. There was a big 100,000 share plus print filled shortly after the market opened up here. I don't think it was the opening bell print, actually. It was just kind of on its own. But I was watching that on a coaching call with one of our students. And at the time here, we were looking for a run up. It just stalled off the highs, and then it came back down. So, coming back to it right now, at least it's back above that big print level. So maybe by the end of this meeting, I'll come back to it and put it on our main watch list. CPRX, doesn't look too bad. Breaking above the highs from the last week or two, if anything. Breaking above the highs from the last maybe 52 weeks here, maybe all-time highs. What the heck's happening here on CPRX? Wow, look at this thing go. This has been a crazy swing trade. Huge parabolic run here for Catalyst Pharma. But even as a day trade right now, it's not really making the fastest move. And it was breaking all-time highs just over the last several weeks, if anything. So, I'll put it on our list. I'll give it a look, but wouldn't shock me if this just doesn't really make that big grandioso pop that you'd want to have. It might just kind of like consolidate here, slowly grind up, not really be a great day trade. So I'll put it on our watch list given the strength, but let's see what happens at this point. Maybe a big iceberg on the bid could help propel it up a lot further. TAL, this one has like a little bit more interest to me, if anything, because this has a huge gap that it could look to fill really soon, getting closer and closer by the day. I think this high is off 963. It got up as high as today as 925. So it's been a great trade, day trade more than anything. Swing trade, of course, I guess you could say in hindsight, but we've been mainly calling this out as a day trade, and it's been treating us really nicely. So back over 908, that was a level I was watching just before, more of a chart level than anything, nothing to do with volume as much, but I was holding 908 as a chart level really well, and even here as resistance when I was calling it out, and now it broke above it. So perhaps this could lead to the next squeeze up on this trade. I'll put this on the main list. We're familiar with the stock. It's more of a level 1 or 2 trade, if anything, right now. So, kind of low risk, even if it's a dud. This is a buyout here. MUFG. Kind of looks like it, right? Don't care to check Benzinga even for this one. So we'll pass on this one right now. ALT, a stock that we actually are pretty familiar with, vaccine stock over the last couple of years, COVID. It squeezed up earlier this morning and trying to squeak up right now a little bit here. All right. I don't really see too much else, folks, that's like as interesting. So far, I put 3 stocks on our watch list: the ICCM, the CPRX, and the TAL. I'm actually going to jump to the chat board. I'd normally do this after, but I see from Karen right now saying the COSM stock, trying to go back up. Yeah, and COSM, it's up over 8%, so I guess it wasn't up as much as the others right now on the gainers. But yeah, great call, great reminder. Listen, this thing, you want to keep on your side list, but don't have much interest in it in the mornings, unless if it's really showing that strength to you. What do I mean by that? Well, if you end up following this thing from the morning today and into the late morning, you're not doing too well, right? And if anything, you're just wasting your time at minimum. Even if you're not trading it, you're just watching it do nothing. So, it finally popped earlier, ended up making a big squeeze. It's easy to say this, but hey, resistance ended up becoming support. We ended up seeing 7 and then also some resistance from after hours yesterday, right over here. Ended up acting as big support, leading to another run back up. So, that's the type of move that you want to capitalize on. And the fact, I guess, it's trying to go back up again. Good call from Karen. Certainly, I'll put this on our main list. All right, so markets are beginning to pull back a little bit more right now. Just looking at the 5-minute chart, we were talking about the lower highs earlier. Let's hop over to the loser side here, seeing if there's anything down big or making a good drop off right now with the market. Bunch of stuff hard to borrow if you're looking at this right now. Bunch of stuff hard to borrow. You look at FCell, it's like, oh, it may be FCell. Folks, it's going to be too slow. Just telling you right now. Too slow. It's at the lows of the day, but I just don't expect much on this trade. And if it ends up proving me wrong, then, I'll be happy to be wrong there. A little egg on the face if that happens. But I think this is going to be too much of a grind. It's been all afternoon so far. So if this ends up making a much faster drop, then, that would stink. But even if it drops off at like another 5 cents, I think that there's better trades out there. Same with SFIX here, Stitch Fix. Ooh, what happened here? Ooh, that was interesting. All right, let's keep going right now. Let's see what else is out there. Yeah, I think that just might about do it, folks. Not much else. I mean, I'm sure there could be more that's down percentage-wise, so we'll go through some side list stocks, but nothing from the loser side that sticks out. Check out Roblox. We'll check out the side list stocks like Shopify and the airlines and cruise line stocks, perhaps. Just looking at one of each, maybe. Not really much happening across the board, I'd say. Neo, not much happening there. Flat. XPEV's holding strong today. That's actually nice to see. It's up up 6% and near the highs. But if the markets are slumping off, then it's going to be tough for this to really swim upstream. Just check out Lee as well, LI. Yeah, XPEV is doing pretty good today as far as comparing to the other Chinese EV stocks. That's of note, right? So Mike just pointing that out right now as I'm going over it. So yeah, this looks pretty interesting. Looking pretty interesting here. Low risk, I guess, if we just slip it on the bottom of our watch list right now. But if the markets slump off, then I'm not expecting this to do much then. All right, folks, let me know if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you'd want me to look at or check out. Check out Benzinga Pro while I'm at it. Got the stock GRTS. I think we ended up trading this last week, mid last week. Starting to pop right now, I guess. It's up over 5%. Liquid order book. Trading over the minimum volume that we look for at this time of the day. Just hope it's not going to lead to like an instant dump off right after we finish up this meeting, right? Looks good, smells good, so why not? More we stare at and don't put it on our list, and if it moves up without us, that'd be a shame. So I'd rather follow something like this right now. On the downside, you got Zillow, Z. I mean, it's like kind of pulling back a little bit there. Not much on really. RCUS, this thing got hit today, down over 30%, dropping back down here. Hard to borrow on TradeStation. So if you can get the shares to short it, is something to consider. But otherwise, I'd pass. Roku. Here's Chinese ETF Yin. So, markets at the low of the day there. So it's pretty interesting to see XPEV like really go against the grain then. All right, let me just jump back to the two I'd go back to. The VRNA kind of just held off here, beginning to consolidate. I don't have a great need to put the spotlight on this just yet. I think that the others so far we'll have our hands full with. But, if it ends up popping after 315, then maybe we'll readjust. But otherwise, the cold ETF, it's up, nearly 14% still. So long as it could hold over 2001, then perhaps it could lead to a higher high going into the close. If it ends up breaking back under that and ends up holding under that, then just no deals. So, I'll put it on our list in that regard, but otherwise, that's kind of just the only play there. All right, so for all of us on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, I appreciate you folks sticking with me I don't want to say each and every day. I was off the last couple of days, just kind of different setups. I appreciate you folks rejoining us back live this afternoon and going forward pretty much each and every afternoon. So any questions that you have, send over through email right there, josh@c2trading.com. And if you're interested in joining us inside our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the green banner below. I changed that up there this time, green banner below, to get yourself started. All right, so for all of us otherwise, Michael, Elizabeth, Karen, Ron, and Leda, Michael, etc., I look forward to chatting with you folks pretty soon. Rich will be on the mic coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern. Take care.